So our first topic is on what does karate teach us about money? What does karate teach us about money? How many people have been to like a martial arts class? Even if you've gone to the first day and then you quit after that. Okay, everybody. Okay, so when people go to like a karate class on the first day, the first thing that they want to do is basically imitate what they've seen in the movies, and they want to play with nunchucks. Okay, so it's first day of class. They ask the teacher, "When do we get to play with nunchucks?" And the teacher says, "No, we're going to be doing basic patterns right now." And so the student thinks that, oh, they're going to be like what they see on TV and what they see in the movies. They spend the next 2 hours basically just going back and forth on the gym floor, just going, yeah, yeah. You've been there before, right? Yeah, yeah. And then the teacher says, turn, then you go back. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then that's it for 2 hours straight like that. What will we be doing tomorrow? The same thing. And the day after, the same thing. And how long will this be going on for? Yeah, 4 years basically, right? So you'll be doing basics, but then the student wants, like, when do we get to play with the weapons? When do we get to play with the nunchucks? So the teacher starts getting annoyed at all these excessive requests. So the teacher pulls out some nunchucks and says, "Here you go. Here, you can play with it. Real nunchucks, not the plastic ones that you get from Toys R Us and stuff like that. Real nunchucks, the real ones, the ones that are legal." So the student says, "Wow," and starts spinning it like this. And he's like getting a little scared. There's a chain in between. And then when the student gets all confident and so on, then he tries doing like what they do on the movies and he throws it to his back like this. His arm is a little bit off and it's a little bit angled. So when he pulls it back, the nunchuck slams into the middle of his spine and the child goes down on his knees like that and starts crying. Never wants to touch the nunchucks again. Okay? What does karate teach us about money? What did you learn from that? Yes? Okay, you get slammed in the back with the nunchucks. Okay, yes? Sometimes you have to be late. Okay, patient. Yes? Okay, you have to know how to use it. And the sisters? Remember back the teacher was telling him you've got to learn the fundamentals first in order to handle the nunchucks? And the student didn't want to learn the fundamentals because I already know the fundamentals. Yes, you want to say something, sister? You want to say? Okay, I think a lot of you are coming from the perspective of what this kid did by asking for the nunchucks was a good thing. But what I'm saying is you can't handle the nunchucks until you know the fundamentals. When you know the fundamentals and you've mastered them, those little movements, right? And some of you might be familiar with the Karate Kid movie. It's an old halal movie, inshallah ta'ala. It might have some haram parts. Every time he went to his teacher kept telling him, Mr. Miyagi, who has passed away at this time, he'd tell him that, you know what? Paint the fence. Have you seen the Karate Kid? No? Paint the fence. So he's basically says, when are we going to learn karate? He says, no, paint the fence. So this huge fence, and he's like, up, down, up, down. And then, the next day he comes, he's like, what are you doing? He's like, we're going to wax the cars, right? Wax on, wax off. And then he goes through all of this, and this is like the pivotal moment in the movie where he says, I've had it. When are you going to teach me karate? And then he attacks him at that point. And then he basically does like a wax on, wax off. He tries hitting him in the head. He's like blocks from the top, blocks from the bottom. He got all the fundamentals down, and you put them together, it makes something beautiful, right? It's like you put all these crayons together, and it makes like a masterpiece, piece of art. But you have to know the fundamentals. And that's why I say these are fundamentals, inshallah ta'ala, that you're going to be learning throughout, or you're going to be adopting, going back to throughout your life. It's been my experience that whenever I've gone wrong and things haven't turned out for me the way I wanted to, I go back to the fundamentals and say, from the fundamentals perspective, what did I do wrong? Such as, did I address my target market and actually ask what they wanted first? Right? Things like, are we in balance? Are we out of balance? Different things that we'll be talking about in the fundamentals. You need to go back to them Every time you start making the mistakes, you start feeling fear and whatnot, go back to the fundamentals, address it, pull out your binder, look at your notes, see what you're dealing with, and adopt some of the fundamentals, inshallah ta'ala, that will move you forward in the future. The books on finances, if you look in the market, the ones that are most successful are the ones that deal with fundamentals. The ones that are specific, they will have their market, but the most successful books are the fundamental books. And now, on top of those fundamentals, you have deen fundamentals that no non-Muslim can teach you, that we'll be talking about. There are things related to the deen that are fundamental, and things related to the issue of money that are fundamental in general for all human beings. So, inshallah ta'ala, you'll be learning both here, inshallah. When you hear a fundamental being repeated, don't be bored by it. Meaning, like, if you know something about income, assets, liability, things like that, don't be bored by it, but ask yourself, have I adopted this in my life? And if someone came to me and said, you know what, I'm having problems with, my financial situation, and you know what, I've started a business, and this is the issue, and then I would say to them, how much money are you making? No matter how much money they're making, the fact that they can't get to the next level means that they have an issue with the fundamentals. They've made a mistake on the fundamentals, the principles. Or they're not even making money. They've built this business and they don't have any money coming in. Let's go back to the fundamentals and let's see what we're dealing with. From a fundamentals perspective, something as simple as this diagram here. Someone told me they had money issues. I'm saying, what's your goal? What are you aiming for? They're like, I want to be a billionaire. There you go. There's your problem right there. You don't even know what you want. Right? And because of fear, you just throw out a number like that. Someone says, no, I have a specific number, 12, last 12 years and 12 months, I'm going to do it. And you have a specific number there. Okay, great. Now, what are you dealing with? Go through the imam with the hot car scenario. What are you dealing with? They're like, you know what? I don't like imams that come late for salah. I think there's some problem with salah, and we'll bring it up, inshallah ta'ala. In addition to the fundamentals, I want to just tell you something about the fundamentals, kind of like a warning. And that is, I might tell you something as a fundamental, and it's not necessarily a fundamental. And I'll give you this example, kind of like a warning. It's because that when you went to school when you were younger, you were told some fundamentals, and they were wrong. The fundamental was, if you get a good education, you'll get a good job and work hard, you'll be set for life. Those are fundamentals, correct? Are they correct? How do you know that? Maybe they are correct. And if your parents heard you, they'd be very mad for you to say that, right? They're like, but this is what we were always taught. And that is, work hard, get a good job, and, you're set for life. Basically like the 3-step process. Those are fundamentals, but they were incorrect. And so I would say to you, challenge even what I'm saying. When I was studying the financial issues, I basically took what they taught me up till about 80% of what they taught me, and then I went off on a tangent. I said, I can no longer move forward with this because now they might be dealing with riba, or now they're going in the wrong direction. I take off. When I was doing the internet marketing and I studied for many, many months, I came to a point where I said that the direction that they're taking me from here forward, 80% into it, is the wrong direction. I took a tangent and made all that money that I mentioned. They didn't teach me that. That was something that I added in addition. And that was breaking away from the fundamentals that they were talking about. So what I'm saying to you here is, don't take what I'm saying as gold and that's it. Basically, you take it to maybe 80% of the way and then take your tangent from there, inshallah ta'ala. And then when you do take your tangent, then you can tell people that even I taught you to do that. Is take a tangent at 80% of the way into it and break away and do your own thing, inshallah ta'ala. And how to, the specifics of how to implement, we're talking about in the first chapter of this is going to be you are here, dealing with where you are now, and that's what we're dealing with right now. And then we're going to be talking about specifically where you want to go and then how to get there, inshallah ta'ala. How to get there, a lot of the fundamentals will then come up with how to get there and the direction that you need to take, bi'idhnillah.